Hi, I'm Gingerbread House, and we will be talking on the subject of food architecture. We will be working on the Jack Skellington house from Nightmare Before Christmas, using only trigonometry and all edible substances. We will be measuring angles using a protractor and a ruler, and only using sine, cosine, and tangent.
Next, we have to find the angle at which the staircase will go, basing ourselves off of the movie staircase. The angle can also be determined by using the Pythagorean Theorem, accounting for the staircase length, which is 5 inches, and the staircase height, which is 9 inches. Then, plugging the adjacent and opposite sides, we were able to determine the hypotenuse length. Then, using a calculator, we determined the angle at which the staircase has to go.
Then we cut blocks out of the gingerbread, making sure the gingerbread blocks are slightly smaller than the previous one. After stacking the gingerbread blocks and gluing the blocks to each other with frosting, we then placed the platform at the top using cardboard and the house. There goes the all edible part, but we'll leave that alone. Then we detailed it by carving the back of the staircase and using icing to cement the base. This is the way trigonometry is used in food architecture.
First off, we measure the angle at which the roof is strategically placed in order for it to not collapse onto the wafer house. We do this by taking into consideration that there are actually 2 right triangles present. We then take one of the triangles and identify the hypotenuse, which is 4 inches, and the length of the triangle, which is 1.625 inches. Using the Pythagorean Theorem, we find the height of the triangle and apply it to the opposite side. Now having all 3 side measurements and then using a calculator and one of the trig functions, we can determine the angle at which the sides should intersect.
The movie version of the house was supported and backed by a metal pole, as it could not stand the weight of its own self. The platform at the end of the staircase, his garden, would bring the whole thing down, and it's held up by only a couple rocks. The house is also way too angled and would lean to one side and collapse. Now the Disney version of it had adjusted the angles of the back of the staircase to not have the full weight of the final few steps collapsing it. The platform was also not as wide as the movie version, as it would collapse if it were any longer. There were wires placed into the gingerbread for the Disney version to support the weight of the gingerbread blocks that were layered on top of the foam mold. The angles are too steep, and the staircase changes length to suddenly to even be considered support.